Welcome back. You're watching Making India a New Deal for Defence, and we're in conversation with Boeing on their plans for India. What has the experience been like in trying to build the supply chain, and not just for your operations in India, but for Boeing globally as well? What has been the experience of working with Indian partners at this point in time, and what do you see as being the gaps there that need to be bridged or need to be addressed?
Right. That's a great question. I think today we feel absolutely great about a partnership. Our suppliers are competitive from a cost point of view. Their quality is at par, if not better than the world class, and their on-time delivery is pretty good. So we feel good about that, but it's not one shot. It's been a journey, right? It's been a journey about getting our supply chain ready in terms of skilling of their workforce, in terms of creating quality systems, in terms of creating the manufacturing, approaches all laid out.
How many partners are you currently working with? I mean, I know we've shot with a few of them on this program, but how many partners are you currently working with?
I don't know exact number, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 2-3 dozen partners easily. And we are expanding that base, every day. Okay. At the end of the day, this is highly specialized manufacturing, so I don't anticipate it will be hundreds of such things, but 2 dozen is a good place to start.
And you were talking about the experience of sort of beefing up capabilities and working with your partners.
Right, exactly. So it's a regulated industry. So we got to get their certifications right. We have to make sure they have NADCAP certified, that their workforce understand what the quality metrics are, and they can deliver on that. It's ensuring that they maintain, tolerances, very tight tolerances on very large sections of aircraft. It's not an easy task. It has taken us time to work with them to get them there, but today we feel great about it.
So today, do you feel that India is comparable to some of the other manufacturing locations that you're operating out of, that Boeing is operating out of, and do you feel that India today is perhaps on par, perhaps even better from a manufacturing point of view for Boeing globally?
So where we have invested and focused, I would say absolutely yes, but in aggregate, we still have ways to go. If you look across the world in terms of aviation aircraft manufacturing, right? It's US, it's Europe, it's Korea and Japan. They have been the powerhouses, right? In aggregate, are we there together as a country? No. We need to still make progress on that. But the areas that we focused on, we feel absolutely great about. So that gives us confidence that, hey, if we can expand our activities, we can get them, get the whole ecosystem at par with these places.
Since we're talking about policy, and again, we hope that we will see the procurement policy being put in place by the end of this year. But the conversations that we've been having with people within the industry during the course of this program, and we've interviewed, about 20-odd companies operating in this space, they're not particularly enthusiastic about what they've heard from the government so far. Would you share that?
In terms of the defense procurement policy?
Yes.
Well, I cannot certainly speak for others, but we are very enthusiastic, right? We think that in general, in our experience, the defense procurement is fairly transparent. It takes longer than one would want to say.
And that concern continues, that the gestation period and and the lack of visibility in terms of the pipeline, and more importantly, that's the future. But what about dealing with the past?
Right. So let me address some of the points you raised. So I think from a process transparency point of view, we're very comfortable, right? That it's kind of it follows the process. It takes longer than advertised. I know they're working on it, so if they can come back to their planned time period for executing, that'll be a good thing, right? In terms of overall policy, the offset policy requires tweaking. We talked about this, and others have talked about this. If they get the mix right in terms of implementation steps and the intent of linking it back to, boosting Make in India, it'll be a win-win. It'll be a win for the government. It'll be a win.
Specifically, what would be the 2 or 3 things on the offset side that you would like the government to do?
I mean, there are lists, but I think few things that we talked about is that, hey, they actually put services in advance that puts very high-end engineering software that we build for aviation and avionics, also kind of throwing the baby out of the bathwater. So we got to bring that back in, so we keep where India is competitive in the forefront. We talked about, making it a little bit more flexible for the OEMs to select their partners and discharge the offsets. You cannot, tighten their hands so much that they can't
mandate who they should be speaking to.
Not only that, but some supplier is not, delivering quality. Why should the OEMs be forced to keep them? Right? It creates disincentives for suppliers to improve their quality. It creates a sense of entitlement, which is frankly an anathema to aerospace manufacturing.
No, any kind of manufacturing.
Exactly. Especially in this case where the zero tolerance. It's not Six Sigma. It's zero defect kind of space, right? Similarly, we talked about the period of performance. Right now, it's core terminals with the contract. If you're trying to build more sophisticated, more advanced capability, it takes longer to build that, and therefore having longer period of performance is actually in India's interest versus trying to pigeonhole into this. Hey, you gotta do this in supply period. So those are 2-3 things that come to mind. Of course, there is a full list that we have shared.
That everyone has shared with the government. I'm aware of that. But if we see that list being taken forward in the procurement policy as and when the government decides to unveil it, what will it mean finally in terms of the manufacturing opportunities for you, the opportunities of assembling various products here in India? What is it actually going to entail in terms of fresh investment if that list that we've been talking about does finally translate into policy reality?
It will completely unshackle us to go find the best partner possible, to find the best possible technology that we can build in India and bring it here. And of course, at the end of the day, we have to meet our obligations that we have on offsets. But it won't be mired by, okay, have you filled this cell this year this way, and oh, by the way, if you don't do that, your claim is rejected. So it takes away a lot of energy, and frankly, suboptimizes how we actually conduct our business, to our detriment, and frankly, to India's detriment. Because we're not able to serve the best we can. It'll be a huge change. It'll be let me put it this way, it will liberate defense manufacturing.
So my colleague Rituparna had asked me to ask you about the Globe Masters, so I must ask you that question before we wrap up. I believe there is need for more. Is there a possibility that you will be supplying more?
Well, we have one left.
Is that coming our way?
That really depends on the customer, the Indian Air Force and MOD on that. So we have one left, and if they want one, they can have one.
If they want one, they can have one. Has the offer been made yet? Not yet.
It's a government to government sale, so the discussion will be between the MOD and the US DoD.
Since we're talking about government and you were talking about working with partners here in India, what has the experience been working with the likes of Hindustan Aeronautics, for instance, and how different has that been working with, for instance, some of your other suppliers, the private sector suppliers that you work with?
We have 2-decade-long partnership with HAL, and we, on the whole, very positive, relationship with HAL. Some of the new entrants, the private players, are relatively new. So we are learning to grow with them. So both have a place in the whole ecosystem. We're going to rely on both those sets of partners. As you said, that we have a lot to do, and we're going to work with both.
Well, we hope that you continue to capitalize on the current momentum, and we hope that the momentum itself continues and goes from strength to strength, and we do hope that the policy uncertainty which still exists will be put to rest perhaps by the end of the year, and we do have a much more facilitative and enabling environment for manufacturing in India. But appreciate your time here on CNBC TV 18, and thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you, Shereen.
Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Make in India, a New Deal for Defence. We'll be in conversation with another company next week. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.